Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I made this super easy rainbow heart cake. So let's get started. I baked off two 7-inch round cakes and I cut them in half and leveled them. And I'm going to be stacking those up and brushing on some simple syrup to keep the cake nice and moist. And I'm using some Swiss meringue buttercream as my filling. With my small offset spatula, I'm going to make sure each layer is nice and level, and then once my cake is stacked up, I'm going to apply a thin layer of buttercream all around my cake to lock in the crumbs. I'm going to put that in the fridge for about 25 minutes, and then when you can touch the buttercream and none of it comes off on your finger, it's set and ready for the next ice. I'm using a liberal amount of buttercream and applying a thick layer all the way around my cake, and then using my bench scraper and the motion of my turntable, I'm going to be taking off most of that buttercream until my sides are nice and vertical and even, and then using my bench scraper, I'm going to pull all that buttercream that accumulated at the top of my cake into the center. After placing that in the fridge, I'm going to roll out my fondant onto my cornstarch surface to about 1/8 of an inch thick, and then I'm going to pick that up with my fondant roller and drape that over my cake, and quickly using my hands and my fondant smoother, I'm going to push all that air out from the top of my cake and then just work my way down, fanning out my skirt and smoothing down the sides until I reach the bottom. Now I've done the exact same thing to a 6-inch cake, so I'm going to dowel my stacked cake so that there's some support. So using some wooden dowels, I'm placing those spaced out on my cake, and then using a edible food marker, I'm just marking off where it's flush with the cake, and then I'm going to cut those to size and put them back in. You absolutely have to dowel stacked cakes like this. If you do not, it will collapse, and that is never good. I'm using some piping gel here, but you could also use buttercream, and I'm just applying a thin layer to the top of that cake, and then I'm going to be placing the top layer on top of that and just making sure it's centered. To start decorating my cake, I've dyed my fondant a bunch of colors. You can see here I've done all the colors of the rainbow, and then I've done a darker and lighter version of each one because I find that it has a nice gradient when you put them all together. Now this is the part that's the most tedious, so make sure you have a drink and you're sitting down, because I rolled out little balls with every single color and they're all different sizes. I find that it helps with the gradient and the look of the cake if you kind of mix it up a bit instead of having it one uniform size. I'm working with 2 colors at a time before I apply them to my cake because I want them to be a little soft still. I don't want them to be hard, because if there's any gaps or just odd spots, you want to be able to kind of mush them around a bit to fill that space. I've applied some piping gel to the bottom of my cake, and then starting with my darker color, I'm just putting those balls all the way around however I feel they should fit, and then I'm just working my way up with each color. When you're done, it should look something like this. And then for the hearts on top of my cake, I'm rolling out the lightest shade of each color, and then I'm using my heart cutter to cut out a bunch of each one. I took a second to figure out spacing going vertical just to make sure that none of my hearts were going to be cut and they were all evenly placed out. And then I just went around and applied the same pattern of the rainbow. And then for the next layer, whichever color was right above and to the right, I started with that so that when I was done, I had this nice little pattern of a streak of colors going across, if that makes sense. You're probably going to have some form of a gap like I did, but that's the back of the cake, so no worries. And this was the final result, guys. This cake is super easy to make. Anybody could do it, and it looks awesome. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for new videos every week.